students basically are in Spanish, or I'm speaking on Spanish 5, that the students who are in Spanish 5 that NPID have that option of taking the higher level exam if they wish. If they're in Spanish 4, they still not have reached that level of competency, and I feel that we're backpedaling in our program, and it's not going to be the progressive program, and we cannot speak global education when we eliminate programs. Just last year we were talking about possibly instituting Chinese into the school curriculum, which was wonderful to hear that it was going to be expanding. And it's very disheartening for us in this to see, and even the students, it's just, oh, you mean in a couple of years they're not going to have this and they're not going to have that? And I get those comments from the students, and they're very concerned, and some of them are saying, I'm so glad I've gone through the program now. I feel sorry for the ones that are coming after us.
I couldn't agree with you more.
I'm sorry?
I couldn't agree with you more.
Thank you.
And I hope that we can start offering again and get our, especially in one town, I think Washington Township, the reinstitute language program.
I hope so too.
It's atrocious. And
I agree.
It just,
and anything you read in the
it's
papers,
just the financial situations, and I'm not going to justify that, but that is the cause of it, and it's just horrible. But that's where we're at, unfortunately.
thank you.
Melissa Stern, Westmore Central. Can you explain the posted student advisor position?
It is listed in the contract, and there is a sense that we would like to be able to have that position available where, in a non-administrative way, the teacher could help with keeping student records, perhaps looking up student records to an assistant administrator, or to help us keep those records in the absence, because you know with the retirement of Mrs. Steffen, we have not rehired, because of budget concerns, we haven't rehired an administrator. We are now down to 2 assistant principals at each school because of those budget cuts. So the notion was, in some of the ways in which we could look up student records, keep student attendance, keep those sorts of things, perhaps even substitutes, a teacher could be able to do that under the negotiated agreement that still exists at this point. Again, not being an administrator, but helping with some of the places in which not having 3 assistant principals at each school causes us to fall short.
And is there an estimated amount of time per day or per week that this position would entail?
No, there isn't at this point yet, and what we were hoping to be able to do, you saw that it doesn't pay a great deal. It was originally established in the contract probably more than 15 years ago, the very first cohort of student advisors that existed. In fact, I was one. And it remained in the contract after that, simply because both sides thought maybe this is something that could be used at other times. What my thought on it was that the money that we might be getting at this moment for tuition, because we have a number of tuition students that have entered the district, could be used to pay for the hours, to help with some of the managerial situations that exist as a result of cutting an assistant principal at each school.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? On the left. I'm Lisa Withering from Long Valley. I've been attending the board meetings for several years, and I hope a lot of the teachers in the room here have heard me say, you guys are great. I have 3 sons. My youngest is in 8th grade. It's coming up next year. Great education. I can't say enough about the professionalism and the way you guys conduct yourselves. And I'm just really sad about the atmosphere in this room right now. It's interesting to me, I guess, saying that I really appreciate the teachers, and I really do. And I think the board has always valued our teachers. Can you address the board? Yes. I think the board has always valued our teachers. I think in all the years that I've been coming to board meetings, I've always gotten a feeling that the board, that's, you know, besides the students, really, you guys are the #1 priority. That's, I'm sorry, that's the word. But I know that it's tough times, and now we're in a different situation. The board is struggling, like everyone else, to try to find negotiation. I would just want to remind everyone that you as a board are negotiating with a union. You're not negotiating with teachers. There's a representative union or an association. that has people that sit down with the negotiators on the board. And it takes two sides to negotiate. And I understand that there's frustration in the room, and I understand that you guys, the teachers, all want to have a resolution, and you want to get on with your lives and teach the kids. I understand, and I appreciate that. But we have another side that is also not negotiating. Otherwise, we would have reached a solution, I would think. So it takes, I mean, the definition of a resolution and a negotiation is that there's two sides. And I would wonder, I've heard a lot of teachers talk about how they're not really sure about what's going on. They want to talk about the specifics of the negotiation. And I wonder why we're asking the board those questions. I mean, you have representatives who are supposed to be negotiating. And sometimes I'm just really surprised about some of the questions that have been presented to the board. Doesn't your representative tell you what's going on in negotiation? I guess they're not supposed to because it's not supposed to be public knowledge, but I don't really think we should be asking the board that. I believe in my heart that the board is acting in good faith. I mean, why would a board want to fire teachers? Why would they want to take away programs for kids? Why would they want to cut courtesy busing? Look at the, the negative feeling that derives from that. I mean, if I was affected by that, I would be upset about it. I don't think our board wants to cut these things. I don't think they want to see teachers fired. I don't think they want to take away your benefits. I just think it takes two sides to negotiate, and the two sides haven't agreed. And I don't think that we should be attacking the board, per se. I don't think we should be attacking the association. I think they need to work together. We should be encouraging them to work as hard as possible. It says that they both say they're open to negotiations, sit down with each other at a time. It's too bad if we have to wait for fact-finding. That's such a long process. I would hate to see it go that long. But after all the years of sitting in this room and hearing the nice relationship between the board and the teachers, and how it just oozes from the board how much they really value the teachers. And now we're in a different situation, and all of a sudden the board's the bad people. And I don't think that's going to get anybody anywhere. I understand the frustration, and it's great that we're venting and we're all talking about this. But again, I just want to point out and just reiterate that there are two sides. And no one's talking about why the other side isn't coming to the table.
Thank you.
Shira Brown, I'm a teacher here in the district. I have two questions. The first, my classroom one of my classrooms faces out on the solar panels at West Morris Meadow. And recently there's been a kiosk put in the lobby to show the energy that we're creating. Because of all the snow, we're not creating any energy because they're completely covered. I'm just wondering if it's the installation people who clear the snow so we can start generating, or if it's the school so we can get back on the grid with this generating to help our finances.
Yeah, that's done naturally. There is not a cleaning process that takes place. And I don't believe at Mendon yet that we are operational. The panels are operational at the central site. We're waiting for JCP&L to install a meter, and once that meter is installed, then we'll go live at Mendon. So if you don't see any activity on that kiosk, that's why at this point.
Okay. And then my second question is, as of Friday, we used our 3 allotted snow days. The past couple years, we've had to go over spring break. And I'm wondering if it would be, if you could consider the cost effectiveness of possibly building in a 4th snow day instead of doing that in the continuity of education for our students.
There are new solar panels that are just coming out on the market which eliminate snow issues to a large extent that are around. But unfortunately, when the county did its bidding, those weren't on the market yet. So perhaps the next round will have more efficient solar panels. As to the snow day, we let this administration worry about that.
Matt Sonati, West Morris Regional High School District. I'm an English teacher here. I've only taught here 7 years, so I'm new to the system. But I do come from a lot of experience. Both of my parents are teachers. My father actually taught in this district from 1969 to 72 or something like that. So I know what education is supposed to be like. I do agree with you that the board constantly says that they appreciate us. I agree with that. I think that you do say that. But there's a difference between saying and doing something. That it's your actions, not your words, that show that you appreciate us. And that if you appreciate something and you understand the value of education, you're willing to put the investment in that. I don't believe that this township, any of the townships, do not value education. I think even those who don't have children in the school district care about the students and know that that's one of the best investments that we can make, is by putting money into our education system for the future. So one question I do have is, since usually the reason somebody does not move on the guide is because they've done something wrong. Right? It is a halting to the guide process because you have not fulfilled your obligation to the contract. At least that's what I've understood from my years with my parents. So I'd like to know, what is your current rationale for us not moving on the guide now? Why aren't you offering enough for us to continue to move on the guide as we increase our experience, as we increase our credits and our educational background?
To answer the first part of your question, I don't think that I said, excuse me, that people don't value the education, but what I did say was that they voted down the budget, and they're distinct. And voting down the budget might feel like they don't support education, but there are a lot of other reasons involved in people's decisions to vote down budgets besides valuing education. To the second part, movement on the guide, I believe, and I could be wrong, but when a contract is expired and a new one is being negotiated, everybody kind of stands still.